Hello, everybody. We're gonna post the title of our event. I see Eddie is join us and Becky. We're gonna invite Eddie right now. Bear with me. I send you a request, Eddie. Okay, hello everybody. My name is America Maldonado. I'm the director of Frenda Fest. I'm so excited to be here again. We created this space last minute. We are doing some firefighters talk every Tuesday. It's gonna be named, let me invite you again, Eddie Woodstock Tribe. That's the one I'm inviting right now, which is Eddie Heegan. So today we are launching our new series talk with firefighters. And one of our guests is Lieutenant Mick Hansen, my husband, that he's sitting next to me. You can say hello.
Hello.
And I see Nancy Hansen just joined. Eddie, let me know. I just call you. And Becky's here, and Miriam is here. It's a big party always when we go live. Thank you for supporting. So, Eddie, let me know if you have problems logging in. Let me see. I see your, no, Grandma wants to log in. She can log in. Okay, I send you another invite. Eddie, just click on the link. You see me? Debbie's here too. So we are here today to introduce this series of talks. We're going to get firemen that are in the path of healing and transformation. We are hosting an event called Fire in Ashes that is going to be opening in November 5th at 5 p.m. We're going to have an art exhibit where we're going to have a lot of things going on. This is going to be hosted by Friends of Firefighters. Okay, Eddie, I'm trying to get Eddie here. Hold on. Here you are, Eddie. Okay, try now. So we're going to have a whole month of events. It's going to be 3 weeks in November when we're going to have a series of ceremonies, workshops, art exhibit, art fair, dance classes, medicine drum making, sound healing. I mean, it's going to be fully packed. If you guys know me, you know that I'm crazy and I like to do a bunch of stuff at the same time. We'll be so blessed that Friends of Firefighters are opening their space and welcoming us to create a space, a safe space where we can all heal together in community through art, music, and ancient traditions. Let me see, Eddie. One more time. I don't know what's going on with Ed. I send you an invite. Okay. So these talks are going to be hosted by Mick Hansen, Lieutenant Mick Hansen, and I want to introduce him. He is my husband, the father of my 2 kids. And I want to read a little bit about him before passing the microphone to him and Eddie. Hopefully Eddie can join us soon. Let's try one more time, Ed. Yeah, he's not getting the invite. Lieutenant Mick Hansen spent 17 years of his career working in Ladder 153, the Watchdogs, and was recently promoted to lieutenant. His 2 decades of service has been characterized by his willingness to go above and beyond. If you guys know Mickey, you know, he's like that. Some of his highlights include assisting firefighters in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, donating bone marrow to save a woman's life, responding to numerous local major disasters, and receiving multiple FDNY citations, including the 2011 Esmeralda Society Pipes and Drums Medal and the 2017 William Frindberg Medal. Mick is currently involved in the fight of his life. The 20-year FDNY veteran is suffering from deteriorating neurological and motor function symptoms consistent with the devastating disease ALS, aka Lou Gehrig disease. With this disease, muscles deteriorate, becoming weaker and limited movement, speech, and even breathing. ALS is a deadly affliction and that has no known cure yet, and disproportionately affects people in certain lines of work, including firefighters. This is Mick Hansen right here. Yay! All right, Eddie, what's up? We need you here. I'm trying one more time. Just accept the invitation. I'm going to read about Eddie. Eddie's a special friend of us. We've been known him since I know Mick for over 15 years or so. I'm going to read a little bit about Eddie while he figured out how to connect. Eddie Heegan is a former FDNY firefighter at Ladder 153 in Brooklyn. He currently offers life coaching, spiritual counseling for individuals, and group retreats where he guides meditation, breath work. As well, he serves as a peer counselor at nonprofit group Friends of Firefighters. Hey!
Oh, am I sideways? Okay.
I'm finishing your bio. He currently serves on the board of the ALS Watchdogs, helping firefighters battling ALS. You can find more about Eddie by visiting edwoodstock.com and Woodstock Tribe on social media. Thank you, Eddie, for being here.
What's up, everybody? How's life?
What's up there, Eddie?
How you doing, buddy?
Good, good.
So
Good.
I'm so happy that you got to join. I'm not invited to this party. I'm just the person that introduced you guys. Moderator. Thank you, Eddie, for being present since the beginning of the history. And we can thank you enough for walking this path, for coming along through disease, through love, through spirituality, through temazcales, through cacao ceremonies. I mean, you more than anybody stepped first into this world. I mean, you already were walking on your own path, but now our path collides somehow, and which is becoming big, like a big community, right? So thank you so much. I want to hear you both, what you have to say about your experiences and how you both connect through a friend of us, if we can start with that. Bye.
Well, you can say thank you, and I'll say you're welcome, but man, I didn't choose this path. This path chose me in so many ways, and I'm grateful. And as time goes on, the more I realize how little we really have control over most things in life. And I'm grateful to be on the path, and I'm grateful to be on the path with you guys. It's cool to have a great crew and a great tribe of people to walk along with, and that, as Ram Dass says, like, we're all just walking each other home. So it's really kind of cool to just have a great crew of people to be on this journey with. I'm grateful.
Yeah. So when did you come to the Firehouse? Me and Eddie started our careers at Ladder 153 in Brooklyn, and I was there for a little while before you got there, right? I think you got there, what, 2003 or something?
Exactly, 2003. So yeah, we worked together for, I don't know, probably like 12, 13, 14 years, something like that. But not only did we work together, we also just became fast friends, because when we first got there, none of us were married. You had this good crew of guys, and we were just adventurers, traveling around the world and exploring, and just like being young and full of life and wanting to discover things on this planet and surf awesome waves and eat good food. And And so it was it was great to be able to experience not only what it meant to explore the world and go on vacation. That's one thing, but you're doing it with guys that you'd crawl down a hallway with. We were traveling with guys who we put our lives on the line for each other, that you could die for these guys and they would die for you. And so traveling with people like that was just, it was really special. I mean, some of the best moments of my life, without a doubt.
I'm trying to remember right now which hallways we literally crawled down. You know, which fires. I know there's a couple, but you know.
Yeah, a couple of the Marlboro Project hallways, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and those are some hairy jobs in those projects, and I'm grateful to have had such a good crew of guys. You know, the guys that we had, you know, we've always stuck together, and it's stayed tight for years. So here we are, like, you know, 20 years later, and we're still crawling down hallways, but they're not smoky hallways. They're more like, there are other challenges, and
yeah,
in some ways,
literally sometimes crawling down hallways right now.
Yeah. That's true. Sometimes crawling into Temescal portholes, in and out of the womb. So
wait, for
Eddie,
people,
yeah. So you have to explain that a little bit.
People that don't know about that, let's just backtrack a little bit.
I seen
It's
Pat
the voice
Heegan
of
join.
God talking here.
Pat Heegan joined there, so.
So wait a minute. Let's just start from a year ago, because the last life that Mickey had got cut out. But you know, let's just start from the beginning, a year ago. Not the whole story, but you know, like, what got you guys?
Well,
first of all, walking through this path, you, Eddie, coming along, and you. Well,
we were close friends for a while when you're in the firehouse, and we were working together, we were traveling together with our crew. Then you know, Eddie retired. He got injured, had an injury, and you know, we kind of fell off a little bit. But good friends, they always come back.
Yeah, when you're when you're friends with certain people, it almost like not to sound cliche, but when you see each other again, it's like no time has passed. It's like there's no need to catch up. You just jump right back in, right where you left off. Yeah. Oh, we lost the phone.
It's funny that we kind of lost a little connection, but then with all this shit going on, you kind of came back into my life, and a whole bunch of guys that are on the ALS board, you know, they came back into my life.
Well, let's stop there. Let's stop there. I don't want to go over that too fast. Mm-hmm. Let's stop there for a second. So, you know, it's like one of those JFK moments, right? You know, where were you when you found out this or that?
Yeah.
And finding out that you, because in the beginning, like ALS is hard to diagnose. It's not like you take a blood test and it comes up positive like a COVID test. It actually was a process, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It was a process where they had to do so much testing and pretty much rule out and eliminate other things that it could have been that have similar symptoms, to kind of get to the point where you finally are like, yeah, well, we've ruled out everything else, so it looks like it's going to be that. But there was a pretty strong conviction that one of the doctors had, where they thought it was ALS. And when word was finally released, like, it was one of those JFK moments where you find out someone you love has this disease, and you know, you don't really know. I didn't know much about it. At that point, it was like, well, what is this, and what are we going to do, and what's going to happen? And I think, and I'll speak for myself here. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like for whom the bell tolls. When you find out something happens to somebody you love, it's almost natural that we feel like it's part of us that it's happening to. And maybe that would be like someone that gets hurt in a fire or killed in a fire. You know, you're up there, why is that so devastating to the firemen? Because we can, it's part of us. And I don't want to say like I'm suffering the way that other people with terrible ailments suffer, but when someone you truly love like falls ill and is in a fight, man, it was a life-changing moment. You really have to
think
stop
about
and
your own
evaluate.
mortality, I'm sure.
Sure.
And it's like, at war when you're sitting in a foxhole and the foxhole next to you gets blown up, you're like, wow, that could have been me right there,
Sure.
Why wasn't it me?
Yeah.
Why is it, or why is it me?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone
Yeah.
else, and we know plenty of firehouses that have been through a lot of, a lot of stuff,
It's tragedy, and there is a tragedy to this, and I think it's important to speak openly about the fact that it is. We can't dance around the reality of what's going on, and since that diagnosis, and since you've been in this fight, a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have changed in my life, and so. I mean, if a lot of things have changed in my life and I'm just a friend of yours, man, the things that have changed in your life, like upside down, you were a full duty lieutenant. Like, how long ago were you a full duty?
A year
ago.
Year and 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So, which I probably could have been on medical leave already, I actually diagnosed myself at the firehouse. That was when I was, Googling the stuff and doing my own tests. And, I'm at the fire and I told one of the other officers that was working in the truck. And, I basically told him everything that I believe that this, this shit that I think I have, even though I don't even believe that I have it still. I still believe there's, there's some inexplainable thing that's going on. I guess they just have to put a name to it anyways, though. Not that the doctors really know what's going on either. But,
and not that they have any specific way to treat it.
Yeah.
So that's, if I could express one sentiment that I feel like is resonant in this experience, it's this idea that like you can go through training, you can exercise your body every day for years. You can have fire trucks. Patty Deegan has a squad and rescue rigs, Nicastro. They have boats. We have tower ladders, and you have men that will run through brick walls to come and save somebody. And in this situation, it's this feeling of sometimes helplessness in which no amount of bravery, brawn, physical strength, tool, equipments, will can change this prognosis. And that doesn't mean that we can't do anything. It just means the things that we're used to doing, the way that we're used to responding to life, it doesn't work. And so if I had to answer the question about this past year has been a journey about trying to rediscover what it means to show up, to what can we do now? If I can't show up and use a hose line or pull ceilings or put up a tower ladder, and like if you can't save someone that way, well then how do we save someone? And maybe we're not saving someone physically, but maybe this is more of a soul retrieval. Like, and what does that mean to do soul work? This is not, they don't teach you this in Pro school, man.
That was what you're talking about is definitely something that I've struggled with my whole life. My way of showing love was helping people out, when somebody asks for something, or I just show up at their house and give them a hand physically, carrying stuff, helping them move or whatever. That was the way I showed love. Not, maybe I didn't always call you and, give my emotional support like I should have. I regret some of that. But this whole thing, now I'm being forced to face things a different way. and to show my love different ways. You know, also my character was very physical. Everything I did a lot of sports and all different things, and everything I did was physical. How I dealt with emotional problems was physical. I would go out and work out, go out and take a hike, and and all that has changed. I've had to, not easily had to deal with it in a different way. And I think I have, now I feel like I almost have to lead by a little bit of an example, and try to show certain people that you can deal with things.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it makes perfect sense. I mean, when the tools that we're used to using to handle life's problems aren't effective, well, we're in the process of figuring it out, but we're in a process of figuring it out together. That's the thing. It's like sometimes as Abuela Yolanda suggested one night in the Temazcal, that we are the medicine, that the community that has been created of love and support becomes the tool. It becomes it puts out the fires of fear. It rescues the soul from despair. It is not in the physical world. It is much more in a spiritual and soulful way. How do we connect with ourselves in a way where we can, you said before that you didn't reach out and express yourself emotionally, but you would show up and do something physical. And that would be like our love language. Like some people's love language is doing things for others. Others is
Much of the fire
saying
department is like that, I would say. And most of us are.
yes.
That. But there are certain ones of us that are better emotionally, and
yeah,
can handle that part of it. Everybody has a little task in the firehouse, and as long as everybody does their part and they're their little special piece, then it all comes together.
Yeah,
works like a machine.
In the firehouse, the love language is man. I mean, if I wasn't getting my balls broken, I didn't feel loved. And if I wasn't, but I only broke chops with the guys that I truly loved. My favorite people in the world were the ones that busted my chops, and I busted theirs. And that's a love language amongst men in a lot of ways.
You broke some chops that you didn't like.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. As we move on, and we learn to become more vulnerable, and we take off this armor that we use to protect ourselves from vulnerability. As we become more vulnerable, we realize it needs a different type of medicine. We need to find a different love language, and sometimes that still means acts of service where you can show up and maybe it's helping somebody up to the loft in Brooklyn, or maybe it's
especially being out of the firehouse too, where there's you can deal with stuff with humor and ball busting or whatever, and it's tough when you get out of the firehouse to learn how to deal with stuff in a different way.
Well, on that note, what would you say is not to put you on the spot, but what do you feel is the medicine that is most helpful for you now? What is it? I mean, even as kind of like an offering or an expression of gratitude, like what is it now that satisfies you? What is it that you're experiencing and because again, like why are we doing this IG Live? We're doing it to connect with other people. We're using this technology that's become available during our lifetimes to kind of like share a conversation with other people. So right now it's 16, 17 people, but others may watch this. What can you say when you're facing a total like 180 in life where your whole life changes? What is it that feeds your soul and satisfies you now as you learn that sometimes maybe what you thought what your life is now completely different. What is it that resonates with you now?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people give me inspiration in my life. My wife, all my friends, and they have really forced me to get out there. And I could easily just hid, not talk to anybody, and just freaking, disappear. Like I said the other night at the gala, I wanted to disappear. I wanted to hike a mountain while I still could and just friggin' disappear and, let the bears eat me. But, I'm finding out like people don't like, my friends and family, thank God I have such great people in my life. They haven't let me do that. And, they don't let me go down the dark hole, so that gives me a lot of inspiration. All the love, and I'm so gracious for it that I can't stay down. I was telling my sister today, like the last couple of days, I was a little down, but I told her like I came out of it kind of last night, and I told my sister I'm like for some reason I can't stay down. I can't stay down there. And I came out of it. I don't even know why I started feeling better, why I started feeling positive, but I just did. But I think it has to do with, all the support. How can I be, I'm so much luckier than millions of people in this world that don't get to have what I have, and you start to realize how lucky you are facing, such tough shit. And that keeps me going. That gives me inspiration. I can't like just give up when people are fighting for me. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes,
I don't know if we introduced you as one of the artists either. Did we?
Oh, I had trouble logging on. Yeah, so I'm going to submit a piece to the Ofrenda Fest that is happening in November at Friends of Firefighters. I'm in the process of creating a piece. A lot of it is still in my head, and I'm trying to figure out the technical aspects of how to bring this to life. But that's also something I'd like to talk about.
Yeah. Well, we want the guy to like. I know. We gave a certain guideline where the element of fire is supposed to be inspiration. So maybe kind of, how do you connect as, being a former firefighter and, a former firefighter was a firefighter. How do you connect with the element of fire?
Well, let's be clear. Fire is one of the elements. It's one of the elements. And there's something very specific about fire. So everybody that's, all of our modern conveniences, like without fire, we wouldn't have any of it. I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but it's really not. Everything from our combustion engines to the heat in our homes to the cooking of meat that ultimately allowed our species to evolve, brought us to where we are now. It could also kill you if, fire gets too hot and you're too close. So it's this volatility. You can have that same volatility with wind, water, earth, but with fire, there's definitely an intensity there. And I'll put it to you this way, and something that fire has been very resonant in my life lately. Now that it's getting a little cooler out, I just lit a fire in the other room to kind of heat the home. But fire has properties of transmutation where it converts things. So it can, completely take something solid, and in just a little while, it can turn it into ash. Hence the tagline, fire and ashes. What ultimately, ash, like, and the same thing is like this physical body, whether we're cremated or not when we die, like, will turn to dust. And the dust, those elements are all part of the earth. You know, it essentially, we are created from it. We will return to it. And there's this beautiful kind of understanding that even on a biblical level, even though I don't consider myself like a practicing Christian, there's something about this beautiful, like, coming from these simple elements and returning to these elements, and just the fire of the sun that shines on the earth and makes our food grow. And all of the different themes that come from this idea of fire are, I just feel like there's beautiful transformative properties of fire. And I think this concept of fire to ashes is this idea of rebirth, and like you were just saying.
So would you say that part of the fire where we know, you know, our jobs, you know, we had a kind of different, you know, we saw fire in a little bit different light than a lot of people. We see a lot of the destruction of it. We see a lot of the, you know, bad intentions of people, a lot of arson, and, you know, where you see this destructive force. But, you know, you talked about the sun, you know, the fire from the sun, and, you know, having to grow food and being, you know, actual, you know, important vitamin for us. You know, how do you see the fire as being a healing element as opposed to, you know, the destruction aspect of it?
Well, I think it's specifically within those transformative properties. And again, it's this process of acceleration. Like, without fire, the combustion engine doesn't have the intensity. It doesn't have so fire, with its ability to transmute, is crucial. And I'll give you an example. Some people might live till they're 90 or 100 years old, but they may not experience life. They may not live. They may not love. They may not have these great life experiences. But if you add an intensity to it, like fire, and someone has fire in them, like I see the fire in you, it's as if we're squeezing a lifetime of love into whatever time we have left. And this whole process would have never even happened had you not gotten sick.
Yeah.
I don't even want to use the word sick. Well, I'll say, had these challenges.
It's funny. I feel you know, I feel like a healthy man that's got a fucked up problem, you know?
Yeah, I don't even like referring to it that way. And I'm not saying that to be sensitive to you. I'm saying it more like it doesn't match the reality of it. The challenges that have come into your life have created a fire in you, in which the community around us we become intensified with this fire of love, of passion, of support. And it's transmuting and converting, again, a lifetime and a community of support and understanding. And it's really, that's the fire that I see, the fire in people's souls and hearts, and community of coming together to love and support you has been a beautiful way to kind of transmute these challenges. And that's the fire that I see, the fire in the souls of people that love you.
I think it's cool too that you're actually going to do some artwork for this, because I think when you first started getting into this community with us and doing these things, it was really at my wife's first festival, the Ofrenda Fest in April, that she ran, where she had the art, you know, she had the idea of combining art and all these different ceremonies and healing things. And, you know, I remember you coming, and you got a lot out of the cacao ceremony. And, you know, I have to say, like, until you do it and you just make that push and you come, you don't realize what you're going to get out of it. And, you know, now that I've brought a lot of people and, you know, people from all over different walks of life, you really don't know what kind of response they're going to have. You know, they all have a profound emotional response, but, you know, some of the toughest guys, you know, we brought, and, you know, they had profound experiences. And it's, you know, I always said I want to bring the biggest meatheads around these ceremonies and, you know, just, you know, break them down, you know, and let's see what we got. But you first came in April, and you started, you know, my wife's been an inspiration. She's been involved in the community, and we've been going to all these different ceremonies, and I see you've been more and more into it, and more, you know, it gets almost addictive in a way, where you want to have that feeling that you get in ceremony, and it's almost like you're chasing it, and it's, you know, you try to keep that up in your regular life. But it's nice to see that you're, you know, her next festival that she's doing in November, that you're going to be doing the art for it, you know. Maybe talk about this, your experience from, you know, from that first cacao ceremony, and I don't know if you did the sound healing too, if you were there. But, you know, take us through that maybe a little bit.
One of the things that I told Yolanda was, like, even though I grew up working class, blue collar, Brooklyn boy.
Explain who Yolanda is first.
So Yolanda is an abuela. She's an elder. She comes from a long lineage of indigenous
tradition in Mexico, right?
Right.
And
yeah, they set up a temazcal, but that's further down the road.
Yeah, of course.
So when we're coming from, or at least I'm coming from, this traditional background. So I come of Irish descent, emigrated, you know, my grandparents emigrated here. We had the Catholic faith. We had the church. We had the Boy Scouts, and I was an altar boy, and you learn the prayers and you read the Bible, and you come of age and you realize that as an adult, you look back and realize that a lot of the people that emigrated here lost a connection to a lot of their roots. I don't know 1,000 years ago what the Celtic people, what their indigenous customs would have been when someone fell ill, when there was famine, when there was, tribal wars, when there was blight. And I would imagine it's very different than what it became. And so even though everybody around looked like me and went to church and made the signs of the cross, and that's for anybody that uses those traditions and finds solace in them, that's beautiful. I mean, I'm not criticizing that. I was just always much more curious about the indigenous nature of the people that lived off the land and very naturally. So fast forward 2022, the internet and smartphones are everywhere. And when you face challenges in life, you want to turn to something that you seek solace in. And so when I started to attend, whether it was a cacao ceremony or a temazcal, or going upstate to sit in ceremony with grandmother, it became something where the experiences I had, they became less about the indigenous nature of the people where they came from, but became much more of a human connection. So what was connecting was less, I'm from Mexico, I'm from Guatemala, I'm from the Amazon, I'm from Ireland, I'm from Italy. It became more this thing where our outward appearances, where we came from, where we are, who we are, was less important than the intrinsic value of our soul and our spirit. And so it was beautiful to have indigenous people who had taken this long lineage of traditions, healing traditions, that they've used for thousands of years, and share them with us. Not a version of it, not something they read from a book, but these abuelas, these shaman, Ninawa, Chue, Yolanda, Lupita, these people inherited these rites, customs, rituals, and traditions directly from a lineage that goes back thousands of years. And you could feel that there was, again, there was no proxy. It was a direct connection to healing, to soul, to spirit, to the earth. And I was deeply grateful that someone was sharing these customs and traditions. And it really became about the community of people that were gathering together. And the community that I'm referring to is now our community of people that, your mom was in the Temescal, other firefighters.
She was hardcore in there too. She didn't leave. My sister also. You know?
And it was black, it was white, it was gay, it was straight, it was skinny, it was fat, it was a whole spectrum of people. It became much more about the collective human experience, and us facing our own pain and sharing tears and laughter and song together, than it was about what made us different. It was all, what made us the same, what bonded us, what connected us was our vulnerabilities, was our fragility, was our tenderness, was our pain, was our sadness and grief, and our intention to heal.
And our intention to spirit build, you know.
Word. Beautiful. Yes.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You kind of explained it there. We don't even have to go through everything, but you know, you explained it through the Temescal. And we're looking, you know, my wife's been wanting to bring this to, you know, as she wants to be able to give something back to, you know, all the firemen, that have helped me. And she wanted to, you know, and I also wanted to bring it to them. So that's kind of why, you know, we want to do this in November. We're hoping to get some firemen to turn out and so they can experience and use the same tools that I've had to use now. So.
And I would just simply say, anybody that's watching this now, or anybody that would watch this in the future, if you're reluctant to step outside of the paradigm of your traditions, I understand that. It's not the easiest thing to be vulnerable and enter into a space where you feel like you're the outsider. But I would highly encourage you to step outside of the comfort zone and open yourself up to what it means to be vulnerable, to dare to express your grief and sadness and share with other people this vulnerability. Because at the end of the day, you know, we have lots of things in common, whether we're firefighters, whether we're men, whether we're, you know, American. There's so many things we have in common. But man, the last great equalizer is the fact that anyone that's born will ultimately die. And so what we really all share beyond our differences, that we all share that's really the same, is this vulnerability. And I think when we start to see each other and recognize that, it helps us to develop compassion and kindness, not only for other people, but for ourselves. And I just find personally, it's helped me to kind of like, you know, my mom has Alzheimer's and dementia. My dad is also not doing great as well. And I've had experienced a lot of life changes. Somebody that I love, my friend is facing something very difficult. And how dare I feel bad for myself, but I do have my own sadness around.
Oh, it's all relative. So there's no, you know,
right.
You don't have to feel bad for it, you know.
Right. And
everything's relative.
Yes, and that's what I would like to. I'm glad you said that, because anybody that might want to consider joining into Ofrenda, whether it's going to Cacao or just coming down to support the program for the art show, don't be afraid to step out of the comfort zone. Don't be afraid to come down and share what you're going through and to connect with other people and become part of a community of love and support.
Yeah. All right. That
Yeah.
sounds good, buddy.
We are the medicine.
Yeah. We have it inside us. I have to remember that,
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I think that's good.
Cool.
It
was great talking to you. I'm glad that we could use technology to connect and to share it with other people. And yeah, I'd love to keep the conversation going and the experiences going. So tell me a little bit about, before we wrap up for good, tell me a little bit about what you're expecting from this experience with Ofrenda Fest. It's going to be a bunch of artists, right, that are going to be displaying
I'm gonna bring my wife back into it because she's
okay.
Trying to type the questions, the answers. Thank you so much. This has been like a dream come true, seeing you two talking on live on Instagram, seeing this guy this opening up his heart and sharing his story. It's like a dream come true, really. And living this life that we live every day with all of you is just a dream, really. Like, I feel like everything that we have gone through this year, it allowed us to become whatever we want. I tell him there's no rules anymore. Like, no. we've been pushed to the limits. So we're going to live our life to the maximum. So, and I feel like all the doors are opening because we all need to heal somehow. So as you guys come and support him, we're all healing each other. So we can only heal ourselves. We just heal in community. So it's like, I don't know, I'm a filmmaker. I make documentaries, but I haven't done any of it this year. I feel like I'm even transforming. Like, I don't know what I'm becoming, but I'm in service of all of you. And I'm just so glad that you hear the call and you just come and you just walk with us. We've been so also grateful that we have so many elders coming through this house that is becoming a sanctuary. It's for sale, actually, this house. And they're sharing the medicine and their plant medicine, and plants have a lot of knowledge. Like cacao, we share a cup of cacao during this conversation, and we can feel, right, the medicine, heart opening medicine. So we can wait to share with you our opening day for Fire and Ashes is November 5th at 5 p.m. at Friends of Firefighters in Red Hook. We're gonna open with a cacao ceremony by our beautiful friend Mau Garcia. We have Ray Cass, which is the curator of Ofrenda Fest. He's gonna do a live body painting where we're gonna call the 4 elements. So nice. It's gonna be cacao ceremony where we're all gonna send our prayers through each element as he paints this human, beautiful woman. She's a beautiful dancer. It's gonna be live painted through her body, through the elements. We have so much surprises going on. We are launching our program probably tonight or tomorrow. It's packed, 3 weekends of packed, like sound healing, medicine drum making, cacao ceremony, fire dance classes, DJs, workshops about art and using art as a way of healing and coping and transformation. And we all becoming ashes at the end of this event because we're all going to become the phoenix bird, right? We're coming off the ashes and becoming this
rising from the ashes.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful flower. I don't know, whatever you want to become.
So
beautiful.
Hopefully everybody don't miss it. This every day is going to be a little different. Every ceremony is a little different. All the workshops are going to be different. So I seen some of the guys out there. Freddie, I seen Acevedo.
Jonas, one of the
Jonah.
Heegan, I saw in there.
Some of the
Gonzo.
Beautiful painting.
Yes.
Yeah. And remember, people are going to come to support, but people also come. Everybody's going through their own personal stuff. Come as you are and become part of the community and connect and heal and love. Come to support, but also come for yourself. Show up for yourself. Show up for us. Show up for Ofrenda. It's really show up for this community. It's a beautiful community that's being created, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. I really am.
And don't act like a tough guy. Just come.
Yeah, just come
after
and have
cacao
fun.
ceremony, you become very softy. You're very soft.
I softened up. I softened up big time.
Eddie, we love you so much. Thank you. You've been working with us for a long time. We so, grateful to have you always. And we can't wait to see your magical piece you're going to create.
I will walk with you guys so long as I have strength and breath and life to walk with you. I'm grateful to be on this journey with you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Watch out for the new program coming this week. All right. Bye-bye.
Let's go Yankees.
Life is an offering. Don't forget about that. Bye.
Bye.
That was good.
Yeah. Maru.